Welcome back, everyone, here at the Writer's Parachute, where we are guiding writer and author dreams to a perfect landing. Today, we have with us a very special guest. We have Sharon Tedford, and we're going to talk to her in a moment. She's an author, singer, songwriter, and podcast host, and we're going to be talking to her about her two books, The Right Calling and Stand. But for now, you guys already know we're going to go ahead and do that housekeeping up front, get it out of the way and out of our conversation. So, of course, we would love for you to smash that like button, go ahead and hit the bell so you get reminders. We have podcast episodes every week where we're bringing you new information for authors and writers. Also, we would love for you to subscribe on the YouTube channel or one of the podcast platforms. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now on TikTok at Writer Parachute. That is Writer Parachute with no S. So let's move on. And of course, we always start the show with a topic. So today's topic, we're going to talk about interviews. I'm a podcast host. Sharon's a podcast host. So I thought this would be an excellent topic to talk about today. So I get this question a lot, and I'm sure Sharon does too, about how do I get on your show? Well, let's talk about that for just a minute. We're not going to dive too deep, but I do want to give you a couple little hints and tips. Number one, if you want to be on a podcast, make sure you at least go watch or listen to that podcast so you make sure that you are a fit. There is no greater frustration for a podcast host than to get some guys coming going, I would love to be on your show, and they're not a fit. They're not a fit for your audience. They're not a fit for your topic or anything else. So make sure that you are a fit. And if you're on the edge of that fit, maybe convince the host why you would be great for their audience. So that's how to get on one. Now, let's talk about how to prepare. For preparing for a podcast, make sure that you get as much information to that podcast host as possible. It's going to help them in crafting the questions that they're going to ask you and talk about. It's also going to help them better understand how you will fit with their audience in a way that they can make your topic or whatever subject you want to talk about appealing to their listeners. So this is very, very important. Make sure you get that stuff to them early, get it to them as early as possible. If you are an author or writer and you have written a book that you would like to talk about, please, please, please get that book to the podcast host at least 2 weeks in advance, because let me tell you, as podcast host, I get very, very busy, and sometimes getting a 300-page book 2 days before the interview is really, really tough to fit into my schedule. So try to be aware of them. You know, podcast host does have other things that they are doing behind the scenes, and they do need time to kind of craft how they're going to make that interview work for not only you, but for their listeners. And then last of all, behavior. Make sure that you are presenting yourself in the best light for their listeners. Now, some people only do podcasts that are audio, which is fine, which means that you don't have to worry too much about your appearance, but you do need to be able to speak very clearly and articulately, especially if it is only audio. Make sure your microphone is working and that it is close. Make sure that you are prepared and you don't have a lot of ums and ahs and stuff, because that could be a little frustrating for an audio only podcast. Of course, if you're doing one like mine where I do both audio and video, do make sure you have a background that well suits you. Make sure that you are prepared to be on camera and that you are ready to speak about whatever it is you want to talk about. I use note cards. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes things. I have note cards. I keep them. I can lay them here on my computer and you can't see them. One of the little tips and tricks that most people don't talk about. So if you can't remember everything, do some note cards. Have them ready. Be prepared. So I hope that's helpful for you, and I hope all of you find a perfect niche and podcast for you to be on. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun, and it does really well in promoting you and your topic and or book and subject. So let's get on with the show. And of course, we want to go ahead and get on to our conversation with Sharon Tedford. She is an author, singer, songwriter, and a podcast host, and we are going to be talking with her about her two books, The Right Calling and Stand. Sharon is a British-born international singer, songwriter, author, and host of the award-winning podcast God in the Ordinary, which was named number 11 in the top 100 Christian podcasts in May of 2022. She released her first book, Stand, the Stories and Scriptures Behind the Songs, with her album Stand in 2017. Sharon was a contributor to Rise to Peace, the AWSA, in 2021. Her forthcoming children's book was a finalist in the 2021 Cascade Oregon Christian Writer contest. She is also a popular speaker and watercolor artist. A huge blessing in her life has been a member of Living Right Texas, a writers tribe who love Jesus and whose aim is to encourage other writers to grow in the kingdom of God through their craft. The ladies of writing, Living Right Texas will release their first anthology that we're going to talk about today, The Right Calling, that just came out this mid-May of 2022. Welcome to the Writer's Parachute. Sharon, you want to hold those books up for us so we can take a peek at what we're talking about?
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me join you today, Donna. I've loved listening to the Writer's Parachute. It's a great podcast and I'm very happy to be here. So this is the anthology that is written by my writers tribe. Living Right Texas is who we are, and this is 9 authors together writing an anthology to encourage the writer's heart. So this is The Right Calling, and there's lots of chapters, anthology essays in there that you can dip into. You don't have to read it from A to Z or A to Z, depending on where you live. You don't have to read it from beginning to end, shall we say. You can dip into it according to whatever topic you would like. And then this is my book, Stand, which goes along with my album, Stand. And these are devotions that go with each song. There's stories and scriptures behind the songs so that you can basically have your own experience of a worship conference in your own home with this book and my CD. It's like having me in your living room with you. You just have to make your own cup of tea because I can't provide that. But other than that, it's like having me there.
Well, that is a great recommendation. So yeah, pull out that tea kettle, fix yourself some tea, and listen to her album and read the book. So let's talk a little bit about the other book that just came out, The Right Calling. I love this book. I was reading it, and as you said, you don't have to read it from beginning to end. You can kind of jump around, and I did do that, and I really did appreciate that it is mostly based on encouragement. It is about some of the challenges that these 9 different authors went through, how they dealt with them. And what I really loved was that most of the writers included with it some steps and challenges and kind of things that you could do to deal with each of these issues as they were going through and writing. So you yourself contributed 6 different segments to the book, The Right Calling, and it's The Right Calling, encouragement for the writer's heart. And I just want to know why this particular project was so important for you.
Well, Donna, you and I both know what it is to bump into somebody who says, I started to write a book, but I was so discouraged that I stopped. Or I went to my first writers group and it was awful. I tried to get a comment from somebody about my book and they tore it to pieces. So I just walked away from it. Well, that is not the right thing to do. That's not the way that writers are born and grow. We all understand what it is to go through trials and difficulties. So really, as we gather together, the women of Living Right Texas, we are together because we need each other, and we fully recognize that there are men and women out there who are authors and writers and speakers who are on their own and can't just call their friend and say, oh, I'm struggling today, or I'm really stuck with this chapter, or can you help me with this sentence? And so we've put together a book of essays to help you get through the hiccups and the difficulties, just to encourage you and help you and enthuse you in those moments where you just feel stuck and dry. And I hope that this book has done that. I loved reading them together as one set of essays after we'd put them all together. And I felt encouraged by my own friends in this book. It has been an absolute joy to write it. And I hope that it's a joy to read it too.
Well, from my perspective, it was definitely a joy. It kind of was shocking to me how good it was and how hopeful and uplifting it was, because I read craft books all the time, and some of them are just very lecture driven. It's like, this is the only way to do it. If you do it that way, it's wrong. And I didn't feel that in reading through this book. I really felt that there was enough
Mm.
variety of perspective, and that they each had something unique to say. And that's what makes a great anthology. So I want to know how you connected with these other authors that are in the book. I mean, you sort of said it's this Living Right Texas, but I mean, it has to be the right group to connect to put a book together.
You are right. I think we've said the word right many times in the last few sentences, but you are right. We actually, in the group, we all knew one person. And so there was one lady who instigated the conversation at a writers' conference, actually. Three of them were sitting together saying, we live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and there's nothing here for us. There's nothing that is suitable for me. I think there was a couple of other writers' groups that just weren't suitable or the right fit.
Mhm.
And so together they said, well, why don't we start one? We know each other. And then each one of them reached out to somebody else. And to begin with, we had 10 of us. And we've been through a couple of changes, a couple of people. One lady, her work situation changed massively, which meant that she really needed to focus on that. Someone else morphed into a different area, not writing. We love them very much, but they were we kind of released them back into the wild, let them go off into the world, and they are enjoying themselves. We're still very much connected with them, but it just became obvious that that wasn't the right fit for them. And we've had one additional member who joined us in the last year, but again, it was all very careful. We were very careful about how we've managed to get people to join us. We don't just ask anybody from the street. And that's what I would say to you. If you are thinking about starting your own writers' tribe, you really need to be careful that it's people that you can work with. And as Don has already said, they can have a different perspective. That's one of the things that I love about our book is we've covered the same topics 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 chapters. It might be a similar topic, but they're from very different angles. And they're going to meet you where you are. The way I write might not meet you where you are, but the way Laurie Altabama, one of my sisters in Living Right Texas, the way she writes might definitely meet with you. And that's one of the beauties of being in a group of people who are linked by one thing and yet separately different, so that we can bring our own character and our own color, but we have one goal. And in our group, because we are a group of people who believe and trust in Jesus, our goal is to encourage writers and speakers and authors to glorify God through what they do. And so I hope that shines through in the book. Every essay or every chapter starts off with a scripture to help you, encourage you to dig a bit deeper in your relationship with God.
Right. And I did love that. It's very well thought out. It is very well put together. And I do like that, whether you are more Christian centered or maybe slightly to one side or the other, this still works very well as a book for encouraging you as an author and a writer to kind of get through these difficult times. And I also found that maybe the point from the Christian perspective was a little more uplifting too, because it was about getting your mind and heart to the right place in all things. So
Thank you.
I was very happy with that. So I'm sure that we have other authors and writers out there that would love to collaborate in this way. So what kind of advice would you give to other authors who want to either co-create, collaborate, or kind of contribute to similar books and anthologies?
Well, first of all, and second of all, and third of all, get yourself a really good head editor. Put somebody in that position in your group, because as writers, we all have ideas about how you want a paragraph to sit, how you want to craft a sentence. Well, that's okay, and you need to keep your voice. That's important as well. Your voice needs to be heard in those chapters, and it's okay for them to be a bit different, as we've already been saying. But make sure that somebody in your group is going to take responsibility for being the head editor or the lead editor before you hand it into a publisher. There's nothing worse than for a publisher to get all these different authors' voices and they're all jumbled and mumbled. The best way for them to receive your book and to be able to publish it for you is to be able to see what you're doing, to see the cohesion as well as the individual voices. So that's step one. Make sure that somebody in your group is going to say, okay, I'm going to be the head editor. Step two is buy them a lot of biscuits, a lot of cookies, a lot of coffee, because they're going to need it.
Yes.
And love on them a lot. Make sure that they're still breathing, because they're going to have a lot of extra work. And I would also say, make sure that you have a topic that you can all push towards. It does need to be a fairly broad topic, so that you can all hit it at a different angle, but it also needs to hit a niche. So that's a very difficult thing to do, to have a broad niche. Obviously, that's an oxymoron, but you need to sit together and talk about a way that you can do that, have breadth and depth, but also hit the mark so that you are just speaking to one set of people in your audience.
Right. And from my perspective, I would say if you're at a conference, for instance, and you have more than 3 conversations with people that you don't know about a particular topic, that would be a very broad niche item to write a book about. So
very good.
Kind of helping you get to what it is that she's meaning here. So we're going to dive in a little bit and talk more in depth about this right calling. And specifically, we're going to talk about your 6 segments that you contributed to it. So the first one was a no, it's a no for me. And you're talking about dealing with rejection as a writer and also as a Christian. And I just wanted you to talk to us about this idea that you kind of created. I've never heard this statement before, but I did love it. You're talking about contented rejection as an exercise. So can you elaborate on that?
Thank you. Yeah, I came up with that because I had lived it. And instead of sitting in the stew pot of, I'm really rubbish, I'm terrible, I can't write, those people don't understand me, they're all wrong. Both sides of that coin are harmful to me as a writer and actually to me as a person, and definitely not helpful to me as a kingdom builder. Somebody who's following Jesus should not behave like that. So for me, I had to learn that contented rejection can come when I remember that the person who's rejecting me, the editor who said no to me, the publisher who said, you're not a fit for us, which is what you were talking about at the beginning. When we look into a podcast, if somebody says no to you, they're not rejecting you. They're just saying your story doesn't fit here. And so I had to think really deeply about how can I move my attitude away from either I'm so rubbish, I'm a worm, or they don't understand me, they're all wrong. One day I'll show them when I'm a bestseller, they'll be sorry. Neither of those attitudes are helpful. And I found that the best way for me to do that was to pray for them. Because I'm a Christian writer, I write about Christian things. I am a Christian writer, but I write about Christian things. Those two things don't always mean the same thing. You can be a Christian who writes about other things, but I write about Christian topics. And so often the publishers that I am pitching to are also Christians. And so they actually are my brothers and sisters in Christ. And the worst thing that I can do is to crush them in my mind or talk against them or be unkind towards them, even just privately, between me and my husband or me and my friends. Mm-hmm. The best thing that I can do is to pray for them. And so that's what I wrote in that chapter, and it's a no from me. It's a prayer that you can use to fill in the gaps in the names of the people who have rejected you, and be contented that actually they've chosen a different book. Because as you well know, Donna, publishing houses only have a certain number of books that they can publish each year. And if you're not one of those, then they've chosen someone else. It's not that they're just rejecting you, they are accepting someone else. And so it's really helpful for us to have that attitude to think, actually, I'm going to bless someone else and be glad for someone else who actually has been put in that position. And it's just not my time yet. And that's okay. And to be honest, maybe it never is meant to be your time for that book or my time for that book. And that will become clear over the years, maybe. But maybe it is meant. And you just have to keep pushing forwards and hoping. So praying for people who have rejected you helps you to become a if I could say it, a contented person, somebody who lives contented rejection.
Well, I think it's great, and I do love the chapter that you talk about this, because it's a difficult thing, and I work with a lot of authors and writers, and this is one of the hardest lessons for authors, is that not every book is for everyone or belongs in every publisher niche, literary agent, whatever it is that you want. Not everybody is going to love it. If it's so broad that everybody loves it, then it probably doesn't say much of anything. And I always try to tell people, every time I get a no, I celebrate, because that means I'm one step closer to a yes.
That's a helpful comment, Donna. Yeah, very
So,
good.
you have to change your mindset about what that no means. It can mean several things. It could mean maybe the book's not ready. It could mean that maybe this isn't exactly the right fit that we talked about. It could also mean that you're not digging deep enough in your topic or your subject, or it's just not the right timing. And timing has a lot to do with things. What's topical today is not going to be topical maybe a week from now. So again, a lot of it is timing and all of these other factors. And you're right, it is literally at a publishing house. They have a stack of manuscripts, a table full of manuscripts, and they have to pick so many, which means the vast majority of those people are going to get that no letter. Doesn't mean that they were bad, just means that they weren't what they were looking for on that day. So, yeah. All right. So then we're going to jump into the second one that you contributed, which is called Triple Truth. And it's about rhythm, cadence, and patterns in writing. You have a quote in there that says that writers influence the reader's experience based on this rhythm, cadence, and patterns in writing. So can you explain that a little bit further for our audience?
I love that your question includes the three, Donna. Very good. Rhythm, cadence, and patterns. And the title Triple Truth comes from the musical world, musical theatre world, which is triple threat, where you're a singer, an actor, and a dancer. And those three things make you a triple threat, right? So as a writer, what we need to do is think about writing in threes. There's something really special about that kind of cadence, even as Donna just asked the question, rhythm, cadence, and pattern. It feels good, doesn't it, to say 1, 2, 3. When we say ready, set, go, there's 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Often we say that when we're teaching children to read, A, B, C. You don't normally say A, B, C, D. You don't normally do that. You would just do it in threes, because 3 feels comfortable to us. 3 is one of those sets of words that help us to feel comfortable. And it's really important for us as authors and writers, and actually also for speakers and songwriters, to think about the rhythm that we write and speak in, because it helps people hear better. It helps your brain receive it from a psychological point of view, physiological point of view. It helps you receive it better. It's really comfortable. It's like saying half of a rhyme and getting the end bit wrong. That's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. Nobody likes that. But if you can write in a way that is thinking about the rhythm that you're using, your readers are going to have a beautiful experience, and they are going to love you. You can write in threes. So if you're writing a list, write a list of threes. He ran through the forest that was dark and scary and gloomy. Threes. She pranced through the splashing, cold, salty water. That will help you think about the picture language. But you can also do sentences that are really short and punchy. It rained. And as the water poured from the sky, she felt da-da-da-da-da.
Mhm.
short and long. It gives you that feel of push and pull. It just helps your readers engage with you in a way that feels comfortable to the brain and actually to the heart. But don't tell anyone I said that, because you do engage your heart when you read, don't you? It's ways to help you create great rhythm, helps you to have very happy and satisfied readers.
Right. And a couple of the tips that I use is a lot of people think of this only with alliteration, and that is not true. Yes, alliteration does typically run in threes, but you can use it in non-alliteration phrasing. But also, if you're reading your manuscript out loud or having someone read it to you, you're going to hear that rhythm.
Yes.
Going to hear where you're using too many long sentences, too many short sentences, too many run-on sentences, too many multiplicity sentences where I talk about this, where they're doing too much work, where you can't figure out what was important in this sentence. It's like the
Yes.
and the and. So but you'll hear that. And so I think this is a great point that you're making. And yes, rhythm, cadence, and pattern is great. And I think for our listeners, especially for new authors and writers that don't work in the craft as much or as deeply yet, that just reading out loud will help you hear that rhythm, hear that
So true.
pattern, hear the cadence of your words,
Yeah.
and help you write a better book, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
I have to tell you, one of my most prolific readers, one of my greatest fans is my dog, because I read everything to him, and he listens. He's very, very good audience. Often he falls asleep, which I take as a compliment, because he's feeling loved. But that whole thing is speaking it out loud. You are so right. Saying it out loud, you hear things differently. I used to be an elementary school teacher. We even teach children to do that from the very beginning, because not only does it help you find your spellings, but it also helps you find the rhythm and cadence and pattern that you're creating. Yes, Donna is right. Listen to Donna, read it out loud.
Well, and I also find that the thing that I is when you use unusual words, because if you're having a trouble reading it out loud to yourself and you're tripping on a word, imagine the reader tripping
Yes.
on that word. And what happens when some reader trips on a word is their brain stays stuck there. They may
Yep.
continue reading on, but it may be another couple of paragraphs or another couple of pages before they catch back up to the story, because they're
Yeah.
stuck going, why did I trip over that word?
Yeah.
Why can't I figure out what she wanted here? So yeah, that's also a big factor that I think is important with the cadence and the rhythm and the patterns and reading to yourself out loud, because oftentimes we like to use a thesaurus to find those great words, but when you read them out loud, sometimes you figure out that they don't quite work the way you think they should. So
That's right.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, I want to also talk about your next one that you contributed is called Make Like Mary, and it deals with making space and time in our work. And um, I'm going to let you discuss why you think that is so critical to writers, because I don't think I could be as eloquent as you were in this particular chapter.
Oh, that's so kind. Oh my goodness, pressure. Shall I just read the chapter? I was writing this story, or writing this chapter, around the time of Christmas, and thinking about how Mary pondered all these things in her heart. What an incredible life she had ahead of her when she gave birth to Jesus, who I say is the savior of the world. What an incredible story she had in front of her. Well, if she had just started to think about it all and imagined, oh my goodness, what if he falls over? Shall I break him? What if I lose him? What happens if he loses a tooth? Blah, 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 blah. Her life would have been a mess. But instead, she pondered, which means to slow down, to stop, to take a pause, to think about where you are right now. And I think sometimes as authors, we think about the end goal, which of course we need to. We need to have that thought in mind, but it doesn't have to batter us in the moment. In the moment, we need space, we need headspace, we need heart space. We need breathing space. We need to ponder the things that we're thinking about. Often people say to me, Sharon, how long did it take you to write that song? Well, it's impossible for me to answer because I get a thought and an idea and I ponder it for weeks, maybe months. I chew over it and I write little notes here, there, and everywhere and gather them all together in one place at the end. I am a ponderer. Often my family will say to me, what are you thinking about, Mum? Because I'm staring out the window thinking about something. Pondering is actually a really, really good habit to build. If you haven't built the habit of pondering, I highly suggest that today's the day you start. Think about your ideas. Don't just write them down and run off. Stop, look at it, consider it, chew over it, cogitate, think about it, spend time right there, get deep in the ideas and the thoughts. And then what you produce later will have a much richer quality at the end of it. What you give to your reader is a greater meal, not just a little snack. It's deep and it's real. And again, it's satisfying. So be somebody who ponders, which is why we make Like Mary, who pondered all these things in her heart. Don't worry if you don't have anything to write down after your pondering session. That's okay. Pondering can literally be just for you and your brain. Because actually it's feeding something in your heart. It's feeding something in your imagination that you probably don't even know about. Because again, as characters and humans, we are much deeper than we sometimes give ourselves credit for. So let things go deep, ponder for a while, and see what comes out at the end.
Right. And I loved that chapter because I talk about this. We as writers get so caught in, I wrote so many words today. And when you don't hit that word count, you feel defeated. And I remind them, I'm like, not all writing is actual words that can be counted. I talk about, my husband will come in and I'm laying on the couch and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm writing. And he's like,
That's right.
You don't look like you're writing. I'm like, well, I'm plotting in my head. I'm trying to figure out a particular scene. I count that as writing because it is. We are taking these deep thoughts in our head, processing them, turning them into words that are palatable to our audience and readers. That
Yes.
takes a lot of deep thought and pondering, as you said, to get the right words.
Yes.
So make sure you add pondering time to your word count, whatever you want to keep track of to maintain your progress. Because if you're not pondering, I guarantee your word count may be high, but the quality words are not there.
I wonder if that's something that we should do actually for those of us who are planners and you plan on your day. Today I'm going to write this many words, that actually you should also plan in a 30-minute ponder session. Even if that means taking a walk while you ponder, or like you and I seem to do, staring out of the window while you ponder, looking at some water is what I like to do, staring somewhere while you ponder. Don't be afraid to add that into a goal. Sometimes our goals we think they need to be tangible. We think that our goals mean I have to have something to show you at the end of the day. Actually, that's not true, because our goal could also be, if we add in pondering, that's a very, very good thing to lean on and grow in. So to back up what you're saying, Donna, I wonder whether we actually ought to write that down as part of our daily goals. Write this many words and spend 30 minutes pondering.
Right. I absolutely agree. And I think that's an excellent idea to add to our schedule because we can get, again, as you said, too caught up in the tangibles. See, this is what I did rather than this is what I did.
Yeah.
So, and if you're not a writer or you're not an author, this is a weird area for it because everybody else generally works and produces. And yes, while we work and produce, a lot of the things that we do behind the scenes isn't really tangible. People can't really see the rewrites and the revisions and the changes and the beta reading and all of those things. So it's really hard to give it that tangible definition of what it is that we do. So, I say let's add to the mystique and add pondering in there.
I agree.
All right. Well, in your next segment that you added, now this one was fun. I love this one because trust me, I've said this probably in a different way, but it's very similar. It's like, help, I've got a numb bum. And it speaks about taking care of ourselves. And you quote in there, if my body isn't happening, then my brain isn't either. And I agree. It's like if I'm feeling stiff or shifting around, or my rear end is feeling a little numb, shall we say, or my hand is cramping, then yeah, it kind of cuts off that creative process because
Yeah.
it's shifting your focus away from what it is you're trying to do. So I want to know what your top 3 tips are to add movement to the writing habit.
And I obviously, you know, I'm British, so that's why we say I've got a numb bum, because it rhymes beautifully, and we call your rear end your bum in England. So that's one thing that I try not to have, is a numb bum, because you're absolutely right. When your body isn't happy, your brain isn't either, and it just puts a nasty stop in your creative process. So one of the things that I love to do is actually I use my cell phone and I set it for 40 minutes. I used to do 20. That's not enough for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a slow thinker. That's probably it. But I like 40 minutes, although I know other people who do 20. And I set my alarm for 40 minutes and I put it in another room, or on the other side of the room where I am if I need to close the door. And in 40 minutes, my alarm will go off and it's really going to annoy me. So I will have to get up and walk over to it and turn it off. Now, if I'm in the middle of a really fabulous paragraph, I can do that really fast, run over, switch it off, get back and finish writing. If I'm in the middle of oh my goodness, this is like wading through treacle, this paragraph, I will stay on my feet and do a couple of laps around the room, like Jane Austen. I will take a turn around the room and I will just make myself like, I need to get my blood pumping. Do you know your brain needs blood? So sitting still and having a numb bum stops the blood flowing to your brain, and you need to move around. So first of all, the timer. And actually there are apps out there. If you'd like to get an app, a timer app, a creativity or a productivity app, you can find those. They're usually free in the App Store. The second thing that you need to do, if you are spending a day writing, which often people do, you need to plan in time to eat. And that gives you a 2-step that's going to refuel you, and it's also going to make you get up and go and do something different. Actually, that's 3 steps, because you're feeding yourself, giving yourself nutrition, you are moving, and you're doing something different creatively, because food creation is creativity. Now, making a sandwich might seem to you like that's not very creative, but it is tapping into your creativity. If you are a chef, you are as creative as an artist who paints murals. That is another step of creativity. So go and get yourself some food or drink. If you drink enough through the day, you're going to have to get up. If you catch my drift, you'll have to move a lot. You should be drinking, because your brain is made up of water and blood, but water. So you need water. Drink the water. And then if you drink enough, you'll have to move and go somewhere to, blah, 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 get rid of the water, Don't want to talk about that on here, but So eat and drink. Stop for a minute. You need to actually plan that in. You talked just now, Donna, about scheduling. Schedule in a lunch break. It doesn't have to be an hour. If an hour is too long for you, don't do that. But if you can stop for 20 minutes, you can do that. Everyone can do that. Go ahead and stop. Make that part of your plan. And third of all, my favorite thing to do is, we have a house with stairs. And so often on my second or third 40-minute stop, I go up and down the stairs 4 times. Up and down, up and down. The dog stares at me like I'm crazy. It's a good thing to do when you're pondering, actually. And if I get stuck on a sentence, I won't wait for my 40 minutes. I'll just get up and I'll go up and down the stairs, thinking about the word choice or what's happening to my character, up and down the stairs, because movement and thinking love each other. They're really good friends. If you don't have stairs, you can't do stairs, you can do heads, shoulders, knees and toes in your chair, because that's moving the blood around your body in a perfect way. So if you're not somebody who can get up and down stairs at all, or you don't have stairs in your home, if you don't have stairs in your home but you can move, just do again a lap around the room, a lap around the kitchen. You can go around your backyard. You can just go up and down your driveway. There are ways to do this that mean getting up and moving. And your writing is really going to bless you and thank you for doing that, because your brain is going to be awakened. I can't tell you how many times I have been getting to the end of my 40 minutes and I'm slowing down, like I need winding up. And I get up, my alarm goes off, and I'm remembering, oh, I'm winding down because my 40 minutes is stopping and I need to get up and just pump the blood a bit, get back down, and away we go. Of course, if you are in one of those writing pieces where you are streaming and it's pouring out of you, you don't have to stop. This is not a hard and fast, you must or you will explode. No, that's okay. You're a creative. You can be creative with your time stops too. But as a general rule, just move. Will it keep moving, please? It's good for you.
Right. Well, and I'm just going to add to that. It's like, as writers, we often catch ourselves with like little snacks. It's like, I'm as bad as the next person. I have like little snacks around me that I can just grab and eat on the go. But often what I find is those snacks are not really good for me, and they really don't give me the energy that I really need. And also, again, back to the pondering, because, these all kind of dovetail together, because when I take that break, and I do love the idea of the phone across the room, I'm going to start using that one. But when I'm in there making that sandwich, my forward brain is focused on making that sandwich and being as creative or non-creative as I feel at that moment. But what's happening with my subconscious, it's working through that scene, it's working through that character development, it's working through whatever it is that I'm struggling with. And sometimes I don't even know I'm struggling with it. I'll just sometimes just have like this weird aha moment while I'm, scrambling eggs or something for my lunch. It's like I'm going, oh, wow, why didn't I think of that before? Well, because I was in my own way. So I think these are excellent, excellent tips. And like I said, this is part of the reason I really, really love this book. Is not only does it address the problem, it talks about the problem, but it also gives very easy to use instructions on how to deal with these problems, which we are totally all about here on the Writer's Parachute. So we're going to talk about your last segment, the sixth one, which is The Mirror Often Lies. And also there was, I'm talking about the fifth and sixth one, which The Mirror Often Lies, which addresses the imposter syndrome, and Drinking Sand from the Well, which is about recharging, refueling the creative well. Why do you think these topics and the way they interfere with our creativity are vital if we want to become a successful writer or author?
Well, Donna, I think you've just given me a really good segue, because you said just now that we get in our own way. And that's exactly what happens when we start looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, I can't do this. Why am I even sitting here? Nobody has ever read any of my work. It must be terrible. Nobody has ever said yes to being published. Or even if they have said yes, they're not saying yes right now. And I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's one step. That's crushing your creativity. That is you getting in your own way. And when we feel like we don't have the words to share, the more we recognize and lean into that, saying, I've got nothing to say, I've got nothing to say, I've got nothing to say, the more we're getting in our own way. Both of those things sit together. So thank you for saying that these things have to be addressed, because I have been my worst, if I can say that sentence, I have been my worst enemy. I don't know whether you've ever experienced that, Donna, but you're nodding, so I think you have. You can get in your own way. I bet every one of your listeners can say, yes, I've got in my own way at one point or another. So we need to be careful that we don't believe the lies. And as Christians, if you're a Christian writer out there listening today, what you are writing is important, because what you're writing is something encouraging and happy and joy-filled and wanting to draw people out and help them have a life that is filled with something fresh and new and real and lasting. And guess what? Satan does not like that. He doesn't want you to write. He doesn't want you to be successful. So sometimes his first tool is ourselves. because I will talk bad about myself. I tell you what, if somebody talked about my daughter in the way that I sometimes talk about myself, I would not allow them to be in my home, let alone in my own head. So I have really got to think about renewing my mind and thinking about what I say, being careful about how I speak about myself, because I know you do too, Donna. I feel called to this. I feel called to write. Well, if I'm called to write, then I should not be partnering almost with what Satan says about me. I should be partnering with what God is saying. God's calling me. He's going to equip me. He's going to help me. He's going to lead the way. I need to make sure that I'm believing Him, God, and not my voice or the voice of the enemy that I'm allowing to speak to me. So it's really important that what we do to ourselves, for ourselves, and in ourselves doesn't block the way, but instead it makes a way for us. So the other things that we've been talking about, moving around, pondering, you are making a way. So be a way maker for your creativity, not a stopper.
Right. And I'm just going to add to that because I think these two go so well together because one feeds the other. Now, I
So
have
true.
my definitive opinions about imposter syndrome. A lot of people talk about why they think that is. They think it's a low self-esteem or, criticism or something like that. I often think that it can be mostly contributed to the comparison trap.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this person doing what I want to do and I'm a better writer? Or why is this person succeeding so quickly when I've struggled for years? And I have my own internal critic. I often say, the things that go on in my head that I say to myself, I wouldn't say to my worst enemy, let alone a friend. And so what I've done for myself is I've named my critic, my internal critic, George. And when he starts annoying me, he has to go in the closet because I can't deal with him. And because it is so easy to see what other people are doing and not celebrating that part with them, but
Yeah.
thinking in terms of why am I not achieving that? Well, again, we're going to talk about, we talked about this earlier about the behind the scene. You don't know how
Mm-hmm.
long that they struggled. You don't know what they've done in the past to prepare them for this moment.
Mm.
And you don't know that thing coming for you isn't greater. It just needs a little bigger platform.
Yeah.
So again, try to avoid the comparison trap. The imposter syndrome, I feel like it comes from that. We feel like, oh, nobody's going to care about my words. Well, I guarantee you, even if you are the world's worst writer, which I don't believe there's really any one of those, but I mean, even if you feel you are the world's worst writer, there is someone somewhere who needs to hear what you have to
That's
say in
right.
the way that you say it versus everybody else saying the exact same thing. And then we're going to talk about how it gets to this drinking sand from the well, which is about feeling just done. It's
Yeah.
like, I've said all I can say. I don't have anything more to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I've emptied, I've poured myself. It's like, we talk about writing as like opening that vein and bleeding on a page. Well, when you're drinking the sand, then you feel like, well, I've just bled all over the page and now I'm without blood. And they are contributing to each other.
Yeah.
So, again, back to comparison, if you're comparing yourself, then you're on this race. Writing and publishing and being an author is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So if
Yeah.
you're racing to get ahead and you're racing to do more and do more and do more, then you are likely going to be affected by this imposter syndrome and the sand in the well. So I think we have to step back
Yeah.
and look at why we're speaking to ourselves in that way, why we're running ourselves into the ground metaphorically and physically,
Mm.
and making it so, again, we're getting in our own way. We are blocking our own creativity by creating imaginary obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Wisdom, Donna. Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't often get on my soapbox, but this is
No,
one of those things that I really.
I will join you there on that soapbox.
All right, so we're going to shift gears just a little bit here and talk about part of the reason you're here on the writer's parachute. So, as we know, all authors and writers experience some kind of obstacle or challenge when writing or publishing their book. So, I want to know, what was your biggest challenge and what do you think you learned from it?
I think it's so funny that that's what we've just been talking about, but I think I was my biggest challenge. I got in my way a lot. And it wasn't until I met all these other women and shared my work with them, because I've been writing songs for 20 plus years, but I hadn't been writing prose for publication. I've been writing it in other ways, plays and poems and stuff for other things, but not for publication. And I just felt like, I don't know if I can do this. And then you meet these other women who read your work and who are encouraging and helpful. And I was in my own way. It's so funny that's the segue here. I was in my own way. I was my biggest challenge. Seriously, actually, it may be true that my husband says that I am his biggest challenge too, but that's another story. Right, in this story, I was my biggest challenge. And so getting together with other people who could encourage you and actually speak truth. The good thing about my tribe of women is we don't blow smoke. We just speak truth in kindness and love because we want to see each other succeed. And so it's no good if somebody says to me, oh, Sharon, that's such a lovely chapter, when it's not good at all. And there's loads of grammar mistakes in it and lots of spelling that's off and the character makes no sense. That's no good. That's not loving me at all. So these women have loved me into the writing process by helping and sharing and giving examples of how to improve and places where it's really good. Keep this bit, improve upon that bit, stuff like that. So getting a community around you who are aiming for the same goal and loving you for who you are, but also, as I just said, loving you means telling you where you're wrong. If I really love someone and we're out having dinner and they've got a big booger hanging out their nose and I say nothing, that's not very kind. I love them by handing them a tissue and just hoping that they take the hint. That's what you need, is a community around you. My challenge was myself and the problem solver was my community. So find yourself a bunch of people who will be able to tell you the truth in love and encourage you to continue, as you said, running the marathon of writing.
Absolutely. And I love that story. And it's always such a wonderful moment when you feel that community around you. And this is one of the steps that I think new authors often overlook, is creating that community around themselves. Now, they may not be writers in the same genre, they may not be writers at the same level, but you just click with them. They get what you're going for, you get what they're going for, and you just uplifting and holding each other accountable and to task when task is necessary, but encouragement when encouragement is needed. And that is so important and so vital because, as I've always said, writing is a lonely, isolating business. As we talked at the top of the show about, these speakers and writers who don't really have this community, it's very difficult. And they kind of get caught in that whirlwind of, am I good enough? The imposter syndrome on the sand and all those things come flying out, and they have no way of coping with that because they really don't have, shall we say, a sounding board for, the frustration and the joy and all the moments in between. So I think that's excellent. So, all right. So now we're going to get to the fun part. These should be pretty quick and fast for us. So if you could speak to your younger self today, what do you think you would say?
That's a hard question, isn't it? I would say do the hard things and don't protect yourself. Because I think I've spent, as a singer, I've been through auditions from a very young age, and auditions are harsh. Auditions are very much like sending your work to a publisher. We've all said it's like standing in a room naked. Yes, auditions are where they say you're too tall, you're too short, you're too old, you're too young. All the things that you actually can't change about yourself. And so Sometimes what I've done is protect myself by not putting myself out there, especially as a younger person, a young lady trying to break into the world of recording and whatever. So I would say to myself, stop protecting yourself and don't speculate about what might go wrong. Those two things. So I would have said to myself, don't protect yourself. Why? Because God is going to protect you. I don't need to worry about protecting myself. Of course, be sensible, don't do dumb things, but God's going to protect me. If I feel like I need to audition here or I need to send my manuscript to this publisher, just jolly well do it. Just do it. Don't protect yourself. God will protect you. And secondly, don't speculate about all the things that could go wrong. Instead, think about how it could go right. Because if you don't try, you, of course, will never succeed. So trying is important, even if it feels like actually that's going to be a bit sticky and a bit uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is okay. It's not going to break you. Uncomfortable is how we learn. So those are the two things I would say to myself.
Well, that's great. And it reminds me of a statement my grandmother used to say to me as a child. And I never quite understood that until I got older. And she used to say, you're still not going to change the outcome by worrying about it.
Mm. That's very wise.
You
Yeah.
know, and she's right. It's like whether I worry or not, it's still not going to change what happens.
That's absolutely
put
true.
that aside and just move on. So I want to know what 3 things that you wish you knew or wish somebody had told you before you began your writing or publishing journey.
Well, again, you touched on this just now, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And don't expect it to be done really quick. Even songwriting takes time. People don't realize that, you know, if you write a song with 2 verses and a chorus, oh, that probably took you 10 minutes. Well, occasionally that happens. You know, sometimes you write a chapter that just comes right out. But normally it takes weeks and months. You have to craft and shift and change. So goodness knows why I thought that writing would be quicker. But there we are. It's no quicker. It's a marathon. And you mentioned earlier all of the things that go on behind the scenes, the editing, the re-editing. We need to invent another word for the re-editing, the beta reading, all of those steps that are important steps to the final product, the making sure that you like the way the book is laid out, especially if you're self-publishing, the learning how to make these words on this page look the same as these words on this page. There's so many steps, and it's a marathon, and it's okay. But just be prepared. Make sure you have enough water with you on your marathon. The second thing that I wish I knew before, that what I'm doing is building God's kingdom in my writing, and Satan hates it. As soon as I learned that, things changed in my head, because I realized that also writing is part of the kingdom battle. You know, Satan doesn't want us to tell people good things and happy things and joyous things and help them get over their problems. He wants them to be stuck. And what we're doing is bringing joy and freedom to people. So remember that Satan hates what you're doing. But like you said to George, just put him away in the closet. That's where he belongs. He doesn't belong on your shoulder. And it feels like a solo sport. This is a third thing that I wish I knew at the beginning. It feels like a solo sport. And you just mentioned this too. But it isn't. And it doesn't have to be. We need to find our people. Find your people. And your people won't be the same people as my people. And your people might be on a Zoom call every Wednesday afternoon. Your people might be in a letter that you send once a month to each other. Your people might be face to face in the pub after work. But find your people, because although you write on your own, creating is a group sport.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love your 3 tips. So what's next for Sharon?
Well, the podcast is something that takes up a lot of my time. And although you don't ever see my writing, I do all the writing for that. So the metadata and all the show notes and all the research, which I love. There was a time back in my youth that I wanted to be a journalist. I put that away, and here I am now researching people like a journalist, and I love that. You might call it stalking, but it's much nicer if I just call it researching, because the police don't knock on your door when you're researching. They might knock on your door if you're stalking. So continuing on with the podcast, God in the Ordinary, which we've been privileged to receive 2 awards for in the last couple of years. And I love doing that with my co-producer who actually lives in England, and we meet up online and enjoy our time together. You never hear him in the podcast, but he does all the hard work. I just do the talking. I'm pitching my children's book, hoping to find a publisher for that. As you said at the top of the show, I've already won an award for that, which is really exciting. And that's me fighting myself, going up against the rejection every time. And so hold me accountable, Donna. You can ask me if I'm still sending it or am I afraid to do that. I'm leading worship at various conferences, actually at the Advanced Writers and Speakers Association in Kentucky conference next week. So excited about that. That's Thursday, the 11th of August, in case you're listening at another time. And if you are listening to the podcast or you're watching the YouTube and you want to come say hi to me, I'd love to meet you. Come and say hello to me. And I also teach in a mum's Zoom room every Thursday, and it's open to everybody. We have people from all over America, England, India, Canada, who come and join us. It's a mum's podcast, a mum's teaching area. It's a Zoom room called Raising Kids on Your Knees. And I love doing that. So if you're a mum, a seasoned mum or a young mum, you want to come join us, Donna will have all of the links and places that you can go to in the show notes for that.
Yes, absolutely. And that's great. So where can we find your books?
Well, you can find Living Right Texas. I'll just show it to you one more time. You can find Living Right Texas on Amazon and all the other places that you can buy books right here. It's called The Right Calling, in case Donna hasn't said it enough. She's been very good at reminding you that. The Right Calling, that's WRITE if you're just listening. And the same with my book and my CD as well. You can buy on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and other places. And actually, you can find me, Sharon Tedford, on Spotify and all the other places that you like to listen to music, Amazon Music, Apple Music. And my podcast is also on Apple Podcasts and many other places. You know about that, Donna. There's lots of places that you can play your podcast. And also on social media. So for Living Right Texas, that's social media, Living Right Texas. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We would love to meet you. Come and join in the discussion. We want to join in with you and help you not feel alone. You can't join us face to face, but you certainly can join us heart to heart. So come along there. And if you want to find me, Sharon Tedford, I'm at 61 Things. My website is 61-things, but you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at 61 Things. And I love to share a hearty dose of hope and God in the ordinary, GITO, God in the ordinary, Gitto. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Right. And again, reminder to all of you, I have links to every one of these things. We have links to her website. We have links to the Living Right Texas on social media, as well as Sharon on social media. So, and you've already talked about your events that are coming up. So do you have anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would like to say, listen to Donna. She knows what she's talking about. Thank you so much for letting me join you. I love listening to your podcast. It's been brilliant to see you face to face, although I see you on YouTube, but thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. So go ahead and stick around with us. We're going to go ahead and talk about our tip of the week. And we're going to dovetail it a little bit with what Sharon was talking about with some of her challenges and stuff in the beginning and the things that she wished she had known. And at the top of all of that, I want to say persistence, perseverance. These are the catchwords and the phrases that we need as authors and writers. There are so many stumbling blocks. There are so many obstacles. There are so many challenges for us, whether they are real or imagined, whether we are placing them in front of ourselves or we're just trying to navigate the world of being an author and a writer and a publishing company. Then you do have to have that persistence. You do have to have that perseverance. But it's also about creating your own community and finding your community. These are integral parts to being successful on every single level. If you feel alone in a crowd, find someone else who feels alone in a crowd. because trust me, they're going to identify with you, they're going to understand you, and create your own tribe based on what works for you. Don't feel discouraged or disillusioned when you join writers groups and they don't fit. Everybody fits into a different group. Try many, many. Be persistent, persevere. If one group doesn't work for you, try another. Keep until you find the one. If you still can't find one, you know what? Go create one, because there are probably other authors and writers just like you that is looking for something new or different, or something that appeals to them or works for them. So the thing I want to leave you with for my tip of the week is write down these words: persevere, persist, and be brilliant. Because I think we can all be those things. We just have to remind ourselves that those are the goals and not the money, the fame, the sales, or any of those things. It's to succeed, and to do that, you need those three things: persistence, perseverance, and brilliance. So I hope that is a great tip for you. And of course, we're always so happy to have you guys here on the Writer's Parachute. We're going to talk to Sharon just for a second here going out. But I want to remind everybody to go ahead and hit that like button, hit the share button. I'm sure you have friends that would love to hear about the topics that we talk about here on the Writer's Parachute. Of course, we would love for you to follow us. We are on all social media platforms at Writer Parachute, that Writer Parachute with no S. And of course, we want you to hit that bell or subscribe to one of the podcast platforms so you get the reminders week after week when we come back with more and more in-depth information for you as an author and a writer. And again, I really want to thank Sharon for coming today. I want to thank her for sharing with us this book, this anthology, The Right Calling. That's right, WRITE. It is an amazing book. I highly recommend, if you are a writer, if you are at all interested in the craft and the encouragement that is offered in this book, go grab yourself a copy. I believe it's available in print and ebook, and we do have a link to that in the show notes. So again, Sharon, thank you so much for being here on the Writer's Parachute. I hope that you do come back when you're ready to publish that children's book. We'd love to talk to you more about that. And of course, we always want to thank our listeners, and we always hope that your writing and publishing and all your adventures land well.